Hello students, class 11 biology. We are going to learn about structure of a leaf and its modification for its specific function. Leaf is a green thin flattened lateral outgrowth from the stem. As you know, they are growing towards the side. They are exogenous in origin, that is, it is originating from outside, not from within. It is exogenous in origin. They all arise from nodes that you know very well, and the leaf has got limited growth and limited lifespan. After a particular period of time, the leaf will fall down. All the leaves of the plant together called as phylum. Then coming to characteristics of the leaf. Leaf is a lateral appendage of the stem. It is bone. It is bone. It has started growing from the stem, and it is exogenous in origin, and it has got limited growth, and it does not possess any apical bud. There is no bud structure from where the another plant will grow. And the three main parts of the leaf are base, petiole and lamina, that we will learn in detail. Lamina of the leaf is traversed by vascular strand, is called as the vein. The lines that you see on top of the leaf is called as the next vein. Coming to primary function of the leaf, that is important function of the leaf: photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis producing. So photosynthesis is a primary function of the leaf. Transpiration is the loss of water through the leaf. So leaf on top and the ventral surface and dorsal surface has got the stomata, through which the excess water is getting transpired, or sometimes due to temperature also transpiration is increased. Next, gaseous exchange. So the movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide does also take place through the leaf. And protection of buds. Most of the flowers are seen below the leaf, so it protects the flowers under the bud condition and also small fruits. And it helps in the conduction of water and dissolved solutes. Secondary function of the leaf. Sometimes leaf does also store the water to face the adverse condition. Protection. Leaf has got changed into thorns or the spines to protect itself from the animals. And it support. The leaf has got modified into twines so that the climbers can get the support of another plant. It can twine around and grow. Reproduction. Some of the leaves does also produce a bud. This bud falling onto the substratum grow into a new individual. Next, the structure of the leaf, you can see the leaf base, petiole and lamina. Please learn another name for leaf base is hypopodium, petiole is mesopodium, lamina is epipodium. Petiole is the stalk of the leaf. Lamina is a flattened structure which you see as a leaf. Leaf base of the leaf from where the petiole arises, that is called hypopodium. Next we shall learn about petiole in detail. It is the bridge between the lamina and the stem. So this will have the strong connection between the lamina and the stem. If the leaf has got the stalk, then we describe the leaf as petiolate leaf. If petiole is not present, some of the leaves do not have the stalk, then you describe them as sessile leaf. You can clearly see the base of the leaf hypopodium in this picture clearly. So sometimes the leaf base are described as pulvinous leaf. In legume plants, the leaf base becomes broad, thick and swollen. It is called as pulvinous leaf. Then sheathing leaf base is seen in the case of some of the plants of Musaceae, that is the banana tree. You should have seen the banana leaf base, which is very thick, flat, and it is getting attached with the stem. That is called as sheathing leaf base. And expanded green portion, as you know, it is called as lamina. The functions are photosynthesis, gaseous exchange, and transpiration. And the lamina is transversed by midrib. In the middle you have the veins, from which the numeral lateral veins arise, and then small veins arise. They are called as veinlets. Sometimes the lamina, the margin is not smooth, it is serrated, and the texture of the leaf may be seen with the hair-like structure, or it can be smooth and slimy. The next structure is stipule. So lateral appendage from the base of the leaf is called as stipule. So the stipule I will show you in the practical class. Next video I will show the material and tell you. It is nothing but the small outgrowth that you can see it in the picture, that is called as stipule. If stipule is present, the leaf is described as stipulate leaf. If it is not present, it is exstipulate leaf. So in some grasses, an additional growth is present between the leaf base and lamina. It is called as ligule. Sometimes small stipule-like outgrowth are found, and the leaflets, they are called as stipules. So stipule, stipulate, exstipulate, ligule and stipules. So these are the different descriptions under stipule. Venation, the arrangement of the veins and veinlets on the leaf blade or lamina is called venation. So inside the vein you can see the vascular tissues. What are vascular tissues? Xylem and phloem are called as the vascular tissues. Two types of venations are reticulate and parallel. Reticulate venation is reticulate. What does the word mean? It is network-like. So network-like appearance of the veins on the leaf blade is called as reticulate venation. Under reticulate venation we have pinnately reticulate venation. In this type of venation, only one midrib in the center is seen and then lateral branches are seen. Under palmately reticulate venation, we have two or more principal veins coming in. Two or more thick veins are coming. So in that, from there the veinlets arise. That is called as palmately reticulate type. If the principal vein originate from the base and diverge, it is called as divergent. That is spread around. If it is going towards the apex, then it is called as convergent type. So pinnately reticulate, palmately reticulate, you have divergent type. and convergent type. Parallel venation is another type of venation where the veins run parallel to each other. There is no network-like appearance of the veins. So the prominent midrib is seen from the center, and that is mainly that vein is perpendicular and the lines run parallel to each other. Example, this banana leaf, if you see, midrib will be there, all the other veins are parallel to each other. Then palmately parallel venation. Under this also we have two types, divergent and convergent type, where we have more than one primary midrib from where the other lines are arising parallel with one another. If the veins go diverging from the leaf base, it is called as divergent type. If it is growing towards the apex, that is growing towards the tip, it is called as the convergent type of parallel venation. Now we are going to learn about phyllotaxy. Definition for phyllotaxy is important. The mode of arrangement of the leaf on the stem is called as phyllotaxy. Why the leaves are differentially arranged on the stem? It is to receive the sunlight so that it can do the photosynthesis. Based on this, they are classified as alternate, opposite, ternate, and whorled. Opposite phyllotaxy and alternate phyllotaxy we will see now. Alternate phyllotaxy is a type where the leaves on the successive nodes are alternating with each other. The spiral arrangement of the leaf shows a vertical row. It is called as orthostachys. And alternate spiral and alternate distichus are the two types under the alternate phyllotaxy. Opposite phyllotaxy, the leaves are arranged opposite to one another and they can be superposed, that is one above the other. And decussate means one leaf is right angle to the other leaf. The first leaf will be right angle to the next leaf. Then ternate phyllotaxy, three leaves arise from the single node. See, in the case of alternate, only one leaf can arise. Opposite, two leaves can arise from one node. Ternate, three leaves arise from the node. Then whorled, in this type more than three leaves. More than three leaves, if it is arising from one node, it is called as whorled phyllotaxy. Then we are going to learn about leaf mosaic. So leaf mosaic is a kind where we are going to learn about the arrangement of the leaf to get the maximum sunlight and minimum amount of overlapping. So the lower leaves have a longer petiole. So longer petiole means they can come away from other leaves, and the successive upper petioles will be smaller so that they can receive the sunlight. That arrangement is called as the leaf mosaic in the plants. Then types of leaves are the simple and compound leaves. Simple leaves are the leaves which is single and that is attached to the stem. Compound leaves are the leaves from the stem. Small branch arise. From that branch you have many leaves arising. That is called as compound leaf. So when I show you the example, you will know. You should have seen the moringa or you should have seen neem, that is showing the compound leaf. Compound leaf can be unipinnate, that is the rachis is a simple unbranched structure. The lateral branch I told you is rachis, from where the leaflets arise. Small leaf arises. That can be peripinnate or imparipinnate. At the tip, if you see two leaves, then it is called as peripinnate. If you see only one leaf, as in the case of neem, then it is called as imparipinnate. Then you have bipinnate leaf. Primary rachis produces secondary rachis. From one main rachis, the secondary rachis arise. Again, there is a branching occurs and leaflets formed. Tripinnate is a condition rachis branches 3 times. Then the leaves are produced. Decompound is a type where the rachis of the leaf is branched several times. That is called as decompound leaf. Then coming to palmately compound leaf. Here palmately compound leaf is one where the petiole bears at the tip more than one leaflets, that is radiating from the main point. That is called as the palmately compound leaf. That can be unifoliate, that is single leaflet, bifoliate 2 leaflets articulated, trifoliate 3 leaflets articulated, and quadrifoliate 4 leaflets articulated. This picture shows leaf modifications. Leaves are modified. They have changed their structure for the specific purpose. Leaf tendril. In some of the plants where the stem is weak, it is requiring support, where the tiny wiry structure is formed in the place of leaves and gives support. Leaf hooks. Some of the leaves are transformed into hook-like structure and attach itself to the other plants. And spines, as we know, to reduce transpiration, they are changed into these spines. Storage leaves also we have seen in the case of xerophytes for the storage of water. Then we have the plants Nepenthes and Phyllodes Acacia. In the case of Phyllodes, the flat green color leaf is modification of the petiole or the rachis. The leaflets or the lamina of the leaf is highly reduced structure. This reduced structure is described as caducus. And the leaf of the Nepenthes is modified into pitcher in order to capture the insect. Floral leaves, floral parts such as sepal, petal and stamen and carpel are modified leaves. So if the sepals and petals are leafy and they are protective in function. Stamens are considered pollen bearing microsporophylls and carpel are ovule bearing megasporophylls. So the modified leaf only you see it as a flowers. Coming to leaf duration, you might have seen the plants where the leaf may fall down. So the duration of the leaf is the time duration of its attachment to the stem. Caducus is falling off very soon. Then the deciduous falling at the end of the growing season. Evergreen, it persists. Persist meaning staying as such for longer period of time. Macrescent is a condition, leaves not falling but withering on the plant, as several members of the Fugaceae. Withering is also, it is just getting reduced, drying off and then it is falling down. So that is a condition of macrescent. Thank you students. So when I take practical class, you will understand all the structures better. Please learn by taking the key points, all the words given in dark. So whichever is given in bold in your book, you should know the definition. If you don't understand, please listen to the video again and refer to the picture in your book. Thank you students. Homework is to write the key points in your classwork and questions from PDF. Thank you students.